Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Government responds to opposition threats about constitutional reform process. Heightened concerns about the high rate of non-communicable diseases in Jamaica's population. And later in sports, West Indies women on second win in T20 series against Bangladesh. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry Simpson. Here are the details. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahoo Ford says 3 options are being considered in the constitutional reform process on Jamaica's final Court of Appeal. Mrs. Malahoo Ford made that declaration at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing in response to recent threats made by the parliamentary opposition that it will withdraw from the committee if certain matters are not addressed. Now, in explaining the government's position, she made reference to promises made by Prime Minister Andrew Holness going into the 2016 elections.
That publication, he indicated that the Jamaica Labour Party had shown a preference for the establishment of a local final court as we move forward with the reform. Let me immediately say that views on this matter are progressing. And the truth is that no, there is no consensus on which final court for Jamaica, but there are 3 options for consideration.
Now, the 3 options would include the Privy Council remaining as the final court of appeal, a move to the Caribbean Court of Justice, or a local appellate court.
Accession to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ is understood. Jamaica is already a part of the court. It subscribes to the original jurisdiction of the court, which deals with Caribbean community matters under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. So it is not true to say that Jamaica is paying for a court that it is not using.
Sparks flew as parliamentarians weighed in on the announcement by Prime Minister Andrew Holness of a $315 million roof grant to assist persons who suffered damage during the heavy rainfall last year. Now, things got heated when Member of Parliament for St. Catherine North Eastern, Carencia Morrison, urged MPs and councillors to work together.
We strongly encourage that behavior in this chamber, because in northeastern St. Catherine, for example, whenever there is an allocation, we think about the development of the constituency as a whole, and the councillors are invited to the table. So thank you, member from North Central St. Catherine. We are going to urge other members on your side. I know we have Councillor Mitzi Hudson.
However, Member of Parliament for Central St. Mary, Dr. Morris Guy, shot back.
The member is misleading the House. Mr. Speaker, that particular councillor that the member mentioned a while ago has always gotten every time. No. In fact, I'll tell you, Mr. Speaker, that beneficiary listing for the MLSS program is still outstanding from her. She got assistance for some of our constituents. She don't give me the list of the persons who have gotten it. This is part of what has happened consistently, Mr. Speaker. She has benefited like all the other councillors.
My colleague from across, he appears to have been very irate. Now, in the interest of clarity, I did not accuse you of not looking out for the councillor. And I am sure, member from North Central, you know the process if you intend to speak. To the member from Central, I know that you have no difficulty in continuing the good relationship with Councillor Mitzi. Okay?
Fresh concerns this afternoon about the high rate of non-communicable diseases like hypertension in the Jamaican population. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton provided an update in Parliament Tuesday.
The issue of NCDs has been further punctuated after thousands of screenings during the Ministry of Health's Know Your Numbers initiative. It began in May 2023, and according to Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, as at November 2024, more than 200,000 people were screened.
The Know Your Numbers initiative has conducted some 220,639 screenings, representing about 44% of what was originally targeted. Performance has varied across the regional health authorities. The Northeast Regional Health Authority has achieved some 83% of its target, while Southeast Regional Health was about 20% or so.
This is below the 500,000 target, and equally of concern, 63% of persons screened were women. Dr. Tufton provided a further breakdown of what persons were being screened for.
Blood glucose, 65,331 tests conducted, representing 65% of the target. Blood pressure, 78,854 conducted, 39.4%. Body mass index, 51,359 tests conducted, represents 29%. Blood cholesterol, 29,000 tests conducted, represented what was targeted, 100%. What it means is that most people who were tested for those particular. So we're not adding up all of those percentages. It's based on the target of the population.
Abnormal results were mainly recorded for blood pressure and body mass index (BMI) tests, both often associated with high blood pressure and obesity, two health issues which continue to plague Jamaicans. As for the future of the Know Your Numbers initiative, Dr. Tufton says efforts are being intensified to improve the program.
Strengthening of regional outreach and accessibility, the deployment of additional mobile screening units to underserved areas, particularly rural parishes, to enhance coverage and address regional disparities, and broaden the reach of screening activities. What we have found is that indeed, even though we have nearly 330 health centers across the country, which of course serves primary care and are more community-based, there is still a large portion of the population that wants a more direct intervention. They want the screening to be brought to them. And indeed, it's a trend now. So the concept of mobile clinics, where you go into communities, you create a buzz of activity, and you essentially intervene with screening where people are in their natural setting, is becoming more the norm than the exception.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
7 people, including 5 children, are homeless after fire destroyed their 2-bedroom dwelling in Jack River, St. Mary yesterday. According to reports, the family of 7 were sleeping when they were awoken by smoke and heat coming from the children's room.
Well, the only thing we have to do was to get our children out of the room before we could try to save anything. Unfortunately, we did not get to save anything at all. As you can see, we did not get to save anything.
Now, Karen says she is unclear how the fire started. She is now seeking the public's help to start over.
I have 5 kids and 2 stepkids. We really like the help to get back on our feet, because for now our kids is going to be out of school and PEP is right around the corner. School things, everything is burned. Everything for everybody is burned. Nothing did not came out of the house. So we really like the help to get our kids back to school and get them back a roof over their head as well.
On a lighter note, the long-awaited work on the road leading to the Port Maria Hospital and Infirmary in St. Mary has been completed. It comes after delays caused by prolonged rainfall. The $12 million project, partly funded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, was initially scheduled for completion late last year. Mayor of Port Maria Fitzroy Wilson, as well as residents, are elated.
We're happy to know that within a few months, we're able to do a renovation of this road that leads to both the Port Maria Hospital and also the St. Mary Infirmary, which is dear to my heart, where the residents of the infirmary are concerned.
I feel pleased now myself, you know, if knowing that if a patient now go really dead before they reach the hospital.
Yeah, feel good and look good, and we love it.
Mayor Wilson says his next focus is on the drainage system.
We look at near to the entrance where there's a drainage system, and it seems to be that the water is still pooling on the section of the road. We would not want us to spend all this money and effort only for it to go back into disrepair in a short order. So we are looking at it. I've spoken to the Chief Engineering Officer at the Municipal Corporation, and if needs be, we are going to allocate some more funds to make sure that the drainage system works and that the water stays off the road so that we can have better use of the road.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More local stories when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. The family of 12-year-old Janine Sinclair is seeking the public's help to find her. TVJ News understands that she left home for school at Greater Portmore High on Monday, January 27, but did not show up to classes, neither did she return home. She was last seen in the vicinity of Portmore Mall. Now, anyone with information that can assist in finding her is asked to contact her mother, Kimon Graham, at 876-440-1361 or the nearest police station. It's now time for the Business Minute.
The Bank of Jamaica will be floating another 6.25% annum 28-day certificate of deposit today as it seeks to mop up another $39 billion in liquidity and ease the pressure on the dollar. Some $1.95 billion of this amount will be allocated under competitive bidding, while the remainder will be allocated under non-competitive bidding. The instrument is taxable at 25% and matures on February 28, 2025. The minimum amount which can be purchased is $100,000. Further afield, Coles has announced a new round of layoffs. The retailer said it plans to cut 10% of positions that report to its corporate office in Wisconsin. More than half of the cuts will come from not filing open jobs, while the rest of the cuts will affect the current staff. Coles headquarters reportedly has 4,000 positions. The move comes weeks after Coles announced it was closing nearly 30 underperforming stores across a dozen states to improve the company's profitability. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Raquel Porter.
Welcome back, and we do apologize for the technical glitch earlier. We'll now have a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In this evening's health report, we look at major depressive disorders.
What happens during an epidemic or a pandemic? Your increased stress. Life just change, and therefore the stress level occurs, and your socialization decrease. Usually we are able to socialize with others, that during pandemics, viral epidemics, we're not able to socialize. There is lockdown. We're not able to hug one another or touch our faces, etc. And these are major ways of soothing ourselves.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's healthy living tip. Get enough sleep. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Take breaks. Allow yourself time to rest and recharge. Challenge negative thoughts and seek professional help.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, 2 men in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have been charged with sex crimes involving minors under 13. A 21-year-old laborer faces charges of unlawful sexual intercourse, and an 18-year-old laborer is charged with multiple counts of unlawful sexual intercourse and indecent assault. The police are urging vigilance and confidentiality in reporting such crimes while ensuring justice for the victims. On the international scene, a federal judge temporarily blocked part of President Trump's plan to freeze federal aid, offering a brief reprieve to programs like Meals on Wheels and other critical services. The freeze had caused anxiety over potential cuts to grants for various assistance programs, including those for seniors, children, and vulnerable populations. The judge's order remains in effect until at least next Monday. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Antonia Atkinson, TVJ News.
We now head to another break, and we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.